Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am hopping along with Trinity Stamps design team to showcase the new March release. I'm going to be making this faux chocolate bunny in a box. Oh my gosh, it's so fun. Okay, so I'm starting out with the chocolate bunny die set. It's a 3-piece set. It cuts out this realistic looking chocolate bunny because the die presses lines into the paper. Isn't that cool? And then there's a little like pupil for the eye and a bow. I die cut it from 3 colors of cardstock just so you could see the difference. One's really dark brown, a medium brown, and vanilla, because for those of you that like this weird thing called white chocolate, what is that? Anyways, I know you're out there and I can totally respect that, but I'm going to let you have it all, okay? Yeah. All right, so I cut my pupil from some really light blue cardstock because I remember my chocolate bunny having like a blue eye. So that's what I did, even though it's kind of hard to see here and kind of hard to stick down, but I got it. And then I added the bow, which, by the way, this bow also has pressed detailed lines in it. I think it is so very cool. So there they are, dressed up with their little bows and ready to go. But I wanted to give them even more of a realistic look. So I stuck it to a Post-it note and then pressed it down onto my Versamark pad to make it nice and inky and sticky. And by the way, this is going to really intensify that color. So my dark brown cardstock almost looks black, but it gives it that shiny look like chocolate would have. So I love this look. It's really easy to do and it's so fun. So now I'm just melting that powder with my heat gun. This clear powder melts up and gives it a nice shiny texture that is just perfect. So there's all 3 of the bunnies ready to go and nice and shiny. I'm going to use the milk chocolate bunny on my card today. So now we have this layered lawn stamp set, which is like so cool. It has 4 different stamps that you can stamp on top of each other and get this like really 3D look, but you can use the grass separate too. And there's a die to cut out every one of those grasses if you use them separate, and a die to cut them out if you stack them up, which I'm going to stack them up because I just had to give it a try. I thought it was so cool. So I'm using the most solid layer of this stamp set and I'm inking it up with my lightest green ink. I'm using 4 shades of ink because there are 4 stamps. I'm doing the most solid image with the most lightest green color, and then I'll build that up till I get to the darkest color. So here's my second stamp. I'm lining it up in the bottom corner of my Misty so I can line every stamp up there, and I know this is going to line up nice because I do want to use the die. Otherwise it wouldn't really matter if you lined it up perfectly, but I am going to die cut it, so this time it does matter. I'm going to show you each time I stamp so you can see what it looks like and how the layers build up and really give you this nice 3D look. And I love that this is going to go in my stash and I'm going to be able to use it for all my scene building cards. And I think having that layered look gives it so much detail. It's really cool. Okay, let's look at the third stamping here. It's coming along so nicely. And then my littlest stamp with the most detail and my darkest ink to finish this off. By the way, the inks I'm using are from Altenew. They sell their inks in sets of 4, dark to light. So the 4 colors was so perfect for this particular stamp, but you could shop your stash and use the inks that you own. And if you don't have 4, stamp one of them more than once to make it darker. Okay, here's that die. It's going to cut out this stamp image, even though I have stamped 4 different layers. I think that is so stinking cool. All right, here's what it looks like and it's gorgeous. So if I was going to put this on a card, I could trim down the edges, I could add a little ink to it, whatever I decided to do. But I am going to save that for my little box here. This is 4.5 by 3.5 inches and I scored all the sides at 1/4 of an inch and 1/2 of an inch. And this is going to create a faux box to put my chocolate bunny in. So what I'm going to do is snip away the corners. I don't need them all. So I'm going to do that on all 4 of the sides, and then it'll be much easier to use this box how I want for my card. This is very easy to do with a scoring board or even a paper trimmer. Next, I'm using this egg, which is from the bunny egg die set, which it's a bunny egg shaker. it creates a little frame and then a bunny holding the egg from behind. It's so very cool. I'm going to have a video with it very soon, so stay tuned for that. Then to add a little something special to my box, I'm going to use the layered heart stencil. This goes with the checkered stencil that came out in previous releases, but you can use this all by itself. And for my light blue cardstock, I chose some tumbled glass Distress Oxide ink because that gives it the tone on tone effect. I didn't want it to be too busy. I wanted it to just have a little something special. And I felt like it needed more hearts than this. So I'm going to shift my stencil over and stencil again. And this is going to give me rows of hearts just lined up. And it's not that hard to do to line them up because you can see through the stencil. It's just harder to see on screen here. And there you have it, all the hearts covering the front of my box. And I love that egg-shaped opening. Okay, I have this really cool background die. Don't ask me the name of it because it just left my brain, but it's from Trinity Stamps, and it's creating a background for an A7 size card, so 5 by 7, and you can see I cut it a little bit smaller than the card front, and it adds just a beautiful texture and visual element to the front of my card. So that's ready to go, and now I'm coming back to my box and adding a window sheet, so it really gives you the feel of a box with a chocolate bunny in it. Once the window sheet is glued on, which I die cut, or I cut with my paper cutter to be 4 by 3 inches, so it fit on the inside of my box. Then I cut my grass piece in half so I could put it on the inside of my box for a little extra detail. And then I used my chocolate bunny die and die cut 2 extra pieces to make this a little bit thicker, so it had a little dimension off of its background, which I am not using that light green, but this light yellow patterned paper from the Trinity Stamps shop as my backdrop for my bunny. So again, just a very subtle little something that adds visual interest. So the bunny's going to go right in the center of that paper. To add it to my box, I'm using some foam strips all the way around, kind of like if you were going to make a shaker, which by the way, this would also make a really cool shaker. If you could figure out how to do that, it would be really cool too. So I just need it so that my bunny is going to be popped up off of that box. I don't want to glue it right to the front of the box. And you could also probably add a little bit thicker adhesive if you wanted it to set farther back, but this is just what worked perfectly for the box that I created. So then it was just time to stick that down. I was a little nervous about getting it straight, so I peeled it off and went for it again, and it turned out just fine. So check that out. So now I have this faux box and I want to stick it to my card. So I'm taking 1/8 of an inch score tape and adding that to the outer flap of this cute little box, and I'm doing that on all 4 sides. Then once that's done, I can peel off the backing and kind of adhere the little corners together, and that's going to make this, it's like a faux box. There's no back to it. So I'm just going to set that aside while I work out my sentiment. And the reason I want to do that is to make sure I get all the elements placed appropriately on the card so I don't run out of room, because I'm using this big Easter cut and foil. I'm only using the cutting parts, but there's also a foiling die in here. So I did the letters in white and the shadow layer in that same light blue, and it's just going to be soft and subtle on my card, and I think it looks so good. Okay, so I do have the double stick tape there, but I wanted a little glue, so if I didn't get this right where I wanted, I would be more able to move it around. And then because it's a textured area and it's a box, I set a heavy block on it and I let it dry while I stamped out the word happy from the Simply Sentimental Happy using milk chocolate ink, because I have a milk chocolate bunny. It's a very solid stamp, so I made sure and inked it up a few times, but stamping it with a little bit lighter hand because it has the word happy like cut away from the stamp itself. So I like to be very light-handed but stamp it more times when I'm working with stamps that are solid like this one. There's even a little die to cut it out, and it makes the perfect little label to go with it. Speaking of sentiments, I'm adding a little Easter treat from the Peep Show stamp set, and I thought it would look really good giving it more of like a commercial box look to have some text on the box itself. I took another little strip of that patterned paper and glued it to the bottom. And now, because I had everything cut out, I was kind of able to lay things out on my card and know right where I wanted to put my box and my sentiment. So happy Easter for my sub-sentiment, or my second sentiment here. And then the little word happy can just nestle right in there. And I think the Simply Sentimental Happy works perfect with this big Easter set. And by the way, I think the Easter word set is so fun to have in your stash to go with all your Eastery things. So there's my faux box with a chocolate bunny in it. It has an egg-shaped opening. I think it's so cute. But wouldn't you be even more impressed if that box opened and you could take a gift card out of it? I totally thought of that after I made it. So maybe I have to make another one where the top would open and I could pull out a gift card from behind that chocolate bunny. Oh my word, I had so much fun making this card. And by the way, this is part of a hop, so make sure you check out my girl Cassie, the next stop on this hop. Hop along, leaving comments for your chance to win a $25 shopping spree to the Trinity Stamps shop, and you can get some stuff from this awesome new release. Okay, I will see you all again very soon on my next video. Happy stamping! Bye!